Hey, what's up guys, it's me David, back with yet another video, and today I'm a little bit annoyed right now because I recorded around 20 minutes of footage and I just realized that, well, the whole thing was freaking out of focus. So thanks Canon's autofocus, I thought you were really good. It is really good, it's just a rare incident. Don't get me wrong, but I am a little bit annoyed by that, and now I have to redo my entire video. That's okay, because I love you guys, and I'll finish making this video. So this is my 2019 tech predictions, which is quite weird to say, 2019. It feels like 2018, but it's actually 2019. When it comes to 2019, the biggest and most apparent thing for me personally would be that Apple is going to make cheaper phones. Just the overall mobile sector is going to be making cheaper phones this year. And I'll tell you the reason why, because a lot of companies, including Apple, lost a lot of money. Well, they didn't lose money, they just didn't make as much money as predicted, which is not good for investors and their stock prices. And when people in the top rungs of the corporate ladder own a significant amount of stocks, losing stock value will bring a lot of panic to the company. And so Apple, not just because the stocks are going down, but because they're losing money, or will lose money, if they continue on the path of making ridiculously expensive iPhones. Now think about this. The iPhone XR, which is the lowest price iPhone that Apple made this year, is over $700 freaking dollars. That is a major make money scam deal. Although Apple's iPhones are really great, I don't think the XR is worth $700. Or at least I don't think Apple's bottom iPhone should be priced at $700. I think what they're actually going to do this year is make the beloved iPhone SE in Gen 2 variety. And what's going to happen is, they're not going to have it at a ridiculously low price tag. It's probably only going to be $100 or $150 cheaper than the mainstream or the mid-range iPhone. And that's going to be the next iPhone XR, which I don't know what they're going to name. Probably gonna name it super slick like the iPhone XR. That's a dope name. The iPhone XR next generation is probably going to be in the $600 price tag. So the iPhone SE2 will be in the $500 price tag. Maybe $450 on holidays. But the iPhone 10, or the highest end iPhone next generation, is going to be at the whopping $1,000 price point still. Maybe $900, starting at that price point. And that's just going to be the way things are. The highest end is going to be at that price point. And Samsung's also probably going to follow suit. They don't really need to do much because they have a lot of phones on the market. So they're just going to be doing marginal upgrades as usual. And I think the only clear winner of 2018 was Chinese companies that made smartphones. Like OnePlus, at like $550, their phone was amazing. I think it was a OnePlus 6T. That phone, ridiculous specs for the money, and it has good software. A lot of companies need to learn that software is half the equation. That's what Apple does really, really well. Google also does this really, really well. Kind of because both of them own the OS. Samsung, LG, and a lot of the other companies are known for not having great software. Samsung is upping their game with the One UI. I have a friend that has One UI on their phone. It is actually really clean. And the updates are coming out faster than, well, they've ever been on a Samsung phone. But LG needs to work on it a bit more. I don't know about the other companies because I haven't tested them out. But it's just the Chinese companies are running away like bandits. Maybe not in terms of money, but in terms of winning. They are the only true winners. And that hurts being an Apple fan, because I love Apple. But Apple didn't win this year. I think if 2018 wasn't already the year of Chinese smartphones, 2019 definitely, most definitely will be. If I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong about everything. No, I'm just kidding, but I think highly likely that 2019 will truly be the year of Chinese smartphones, because OnePlus is doing really well, and other Chinese companies are going to enter the US market. Huawei has already obliterated the global market. Truth about Huawei, I don't think they're going to come into the US market for at least the next 2 years because of security concerns and because the current administration is... I find it highly unlikely that a Chinese company with ties to the Chinese government, with security threats to the US and the population, the civilians of the US, is going to enter the US market anytime soon, if at all, for the next 10 years. The only real place where I see Huawei coming into the equation is 5G, because Huawei is the global leader in 5G. AT&T, Verizon, let's not even talk about Sprint. They need to up their game when it comes to 5G, because if we don't, we're going to be forced to use Huawei equipment, which could be potentially very dangerous, or be stuck with very much slower equipment than other countries. Another thing is, I think there's going to be a lot more focus on the tablet PC crossover section, so Surface, iPad Pro, Pixel, Slate, I think that's what the name is. But those are going to get a lot more focus from companies, not in terms of hardware, but in terms of software. Windows is going to be more Android compatible. There's going to be more compatible Android apps. iOS is going to be more desktop-like, better file management, better be able to take storage, import files from SD cards and stuff like that. And Chrome OS is like weird. It's like in a whack spot. There's like iOS and Android right here, and then there's Windows and Mac right here. Polar opposites, let's say they are. iPad is like here because it's running iOS, but some of its features like its keyboard make it like 30% to full-fledged desktop, and then like maybe 40% because there's like Photoshop full version on it now and programs are getting better. And then Surface is like mostly Windows PC, like 90% Windows and then 10% Android, because it has a little bit of Android apps. That's how it's balanced. Chrome OS is like dead freaking center. They need to work on making their OS more of a desktop operating system and make it more of an Android operating system. So they have a lot of work to do, but I think Google's gonna get more work done than a lot of other companies this year. That's because they have a lot more work to do, so they're gonna invest a lot more money. Apple and Microsoft are gonna invest in making their ecosystems click together, and Apple and Microsoft are especially going to slick up their software, make it more effective and like clean and stuff like that, rather than focusing most of their money on the actual transition phase, because that's going to take a couple of years. But Google's going to play catch up really hard, and that's going to be really interesting to see. Now, speaking of interesting to see, Apple is going to be focusing much more on their professional computers. The Mac Pro is going to get an upgrade to interchangeable components, which is super exciting. I'm really excited for that. Even though it's going to be way too expensive for me to afford, it's just like the technological innovation is something that I really love looking at. And the most exciting part about this year is probably going to be the iMacs. They're going to be upgraded to 8-core processors for sure. To be quite frank with you, I don't think the graphics are going to be upgraded at all, or they're going to have Vega 56 as their bottom tier, and the iMac Pro will have Vega 64 on all models. That's the only scenario. I think most likely graphics are not going to improve unless they switch to NVIDIA, which I don't see happening in the near future. MacBook Pro is going to get a slight spec bump. That's how I see it. Mac Mini is not going to get upgraded at all. That's most likely. If it does, it'll be a slight spec bump. The biggest takeaway here is that in 2019, and I need to talk to the manufacturers directly. I'm sorry for all the viewers. In 2019, the biggest thing is going to be that the disparity between the successful companies and the failing ones are going to be giant. It's going to be absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. And this is just going to be mostly because corporate consolidation, where a couple companies are going to rule the market, and that's inevitable. At this point, the only thing saving consumers from corporate consolidation is either not buying stuff like we did last year. It's so weird to say last year for 2018. Or waiting for the Chinese flood to overtake the US market, which I'm not in favor of. I think this year, companies are going to have to release cheaper phones that are the same or better to survive. But what they're going to need to do to actually grow as a company is going to be innovating the crap out of their products. And we're going to be seeing tremendous growth in terms of products this year. Even if companies fail, they're going to give the last ditch effort. They're going to try their hardest and go down with the fight. And it'll be very interesting to see this happening. I think Apple learned a lesson last year. Samsung has been learning a lesson for the last couple years. That's why they're improving their software updates. I'm very interested to see what the tech industry will give us in the majestic year of 2019. If you like this video and my opinions, which is kind of the whole video, that's kind of the whole channel. My opinions about technology, my opinions about the things I review, my opinions about donkey prosthetics. It's about my opinions, and if you like this type of content, and if you like reviews on technology, if you like theoretical analysis of future technologies or new technologies that have come on the news for an in-depth explanation, then you really want to click the glowing red subscribe button. And I'm not going to finish the video until you click that. Yep, I'm going to be waiting.